name is Mr. Tim, and I affirm and agree with the decision to ban Pokemon from Cary Downey Elementary School. The reasons I have are many and will be provided with evidence that can be backed up both by research and experiences. Pokemon in themselves are not a problem. Created in 1996 as a way for opponents to train, energize, collect, and select up to 60 cards for a battle. This two-player game itself is not at the heart of the problem, and I think should be enjoyed by all students if they choose in the right environment, which is your home or your friend's house. The banning of Pokemon was not decided because of the repeated misuse, disruption, and the banning of Pokemon was decided because of the repeated misuse, mistrust, disruption, and eventual piracy of the cards. Piracy in this sense is the form of intimidating or aggressively persuading another person to trade cards that were not of equal value. I would argue that many of you in this room have experienced more than one bad trade and felt pressure to go through with it. For example, trading a Pokemon EX, like Tornadus, for a few basics like Raichu or Kabuto just isn't fair. These just aren't fair without the proper policies and enforcement, which I cannot provide for you. These unfair trades will continue to occur. Because of this, many have been feeling cheated. Beyond the unfairness of the trades, which is prevented from when Pokemon are left at home, the disruption to the environment for which trading occurs is something that goes against many of our established rules for classrooms, recess, and the cafeteria. I have statements from actual teachers that have asked students to put away, and on more than one occasion take students' Pokemon cards away from them because they were engaging in activities with Pokemon during class time. In the cafeteria in particular, where focusing on content is not as important, Mr. Henry and myself have had to repeatedly ask students to return to their seats as they have attempted to conduct trades, while displacing other students from their normal seating location.
Sorry to interrupt again, but
This disruption, like Mrs. Kane, and intimidation of space affects the whole environment in the cafeteria, potentially creating a safety hazard. We recently have had situations where players were accused of stealing and cards were lost. That was the last straw for me. This is a monetary or cash loss in the fact that these cards cannot be replaced. I have had to speak personally with a number of parents, grandparents, and other guardians about the replacement of these cards or retribution. The school cannot afford to replace Pokemon cards, and therefore many have been left upset and feeling cheated. This again is not okay. I have a feeling that you will argue that it won't happen again. I know you three very well. You're going to make promises that we're going to do better, that you're going to have, but I've been an administrator since 2005, which is coincidentally the same year that many of you were born. I have seen where soft policies and these types of fads work for a few weeks or months, but inevitably these fads always get restricted. I remember the tech deck fiasco, the loom bands, and others that have had the same fate. School is different than home, and the rules therefore are different. Do you have to ask permission to use the bathroom at home? I don't think so. Do you have to raise your hand to speak at home? No. Do you have to cubby at home?
Time.
Mr. Tim, my first question for you is, why did you ban Pokemon?
As stated in my previous statement, the reason for banning Pokemon was really at the end of the week, 2 weeks ago, we had a couple of occasions where students lost and their cards were stolen. And parents were upset that this was occurring, so carried down.
Second question. Are you against trading Pokemon cards?
I am not against trading Pokemon cards, only against it at school.
Third question. Why did you take Pokemon cards away without any warnings?
That is a very good question. Why did I take it away without any warnings? Because I think, and what I stated before, was my experience in the years that I've been an administrator, sometimes you can give warnings, and I gave warnings to certain individuals, to certain groups, and certain tables. I did not give a full grade level of warning, you're right. I just decided to do it because I've seen this happen before, and unfortunately, you end up having to restrict all sorts of things.
I have a question. This is a personal question. Do you even like Pokemon cards?
Do I like Pokemon cards? I myself am not a big fan of Pokemon cards.
I'm protesting against Pokemon being banned, and all grades want Pokemon back, because because it is fun thing where everyone can do it. It is fun to collect them, it's fun to battle them, it's fun for everyone to do. With Mr. Tim taking that away from us, that is unacceptable. Students from kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, and fifth, all of Pokemon. And if I have to prove it, I will. So I say if everyone in this school likes Pokemon, I say, why would you take it away? So I say bring it back.
So my question would be, do you have any statistics and/or survey that you've conducted that can prove to me that everyone in this room likes Pokemon?
Well, yes, I have given out papers to every classes. I know lots of people from Mr. Bonavita's class like them, and I've actually gone to some to Miss Marsh's table, and I've seen probably lots of people like them, and I've gone to Miss Clark's class and like an entire table. Like,
If you could give a percentage of students, 100% being everybody, what percentage do you think
in just this room,
in just this one?
probably 80%.
How would you go about proving that theory that you're going to be able to do whatever it takes so that we don't have problems with Pokemon?
That if you don't like them being stolen, or just keep them away from, and don't make a trade, even if it's your friend and they want that card. If you think it's not fair, don't do it.
So you're suggesting that we have a no trade policy?
No trade. No trade, but you can still bring them.
And what would you do if you just brought them?
You would be able to battle with them. You would bring your good cards, and then you would be able to battle with them. It wouldn't be necessary to trade, but you would be able to bring them and show off.
In your expert Pokemon opinion, do you think that the students in 4th and 5th grade understand how to battle? Because there is a procedure, there's actually different procedures based on what kind of Pokemon battle that you're doing.
Yes, I think most people that do know how to will teach the other people, like say some person is battling someone else that doesn't know how to battle. That person would teach the other person and then they would have fun.
My questions that I have for you three. One of the questions was already somewhat addressed, but I wanted to just further you explain how can you ensure that the current problems that we have and that I've outlined, how are they going to be addressed? What are possible consequences for people breaking some of those things you said about no trading and that sort of thing?
They would end up having overtime or like or like have to stay away from their friends. And just they wouldn't be able to break their card. So like say if they were trying to steal from other people, they just wouldn't be able to break that.
So you think a limited ban on individuals that violate the rules? How would you feel about if I saw a trade that I took them with the understanding that they would never be returned to that person?
That they I know
So
that
if you were trading with somebody, I took everyone's cards and kept them forever. Would that be okay with your side?
no, that wouldn't be okay.
Even though I'm giving you forewarning now, that any trades would occur, I would take the cards forever. You still would not be okay with that?
If it's a bad trade, which if it's like an EX or something like a card, you can give the card back to the other person.
All right, let me ask you one more question. So I didn't quite get to it in my opening part, but what value does having Pokemon in our school building bring to the academic in your class? Does it bring value to math, reading, science, social studies?
Well, it does have math involved to it. Like it has an energy counselor with a Mewtwo EX method, and how many energies you have on it. It's times 10. So if you have 100, it would be times 10, and that would be how much attack. So it does involve math and taking away from how much else it already does.
Alright. So What value is battling Pokemon with school culture? School culture being things like students getting along with each other, teachers and students getting along with each other.
Well, battling would help you, to say, someone's battling another person. It could help them, like see what other cards they have and might be able to get like friends with someone you're already not friends with. Like to see you have one connection.
Right, it's time for the next section, so this is the negatives last time to see. Go ahead. It's you guys.
The final one.
Your final one. If it's
Okay,
Derek,
so-
is it Derek that's talking about the argument? So this is your turn to talk, Derek.
You said, Mr. Tim, you said that people like steal each other's cars and have bad trades or something like that, right? Well, that a bad trade couldn't have happened unless you said yes. So why would you ban it if it's the people's fault for trading the bad trade?
Would you like me to answer that? Because I think some people can intimidate other people into making a trade. For example, if someone's bigger than somebody else, they might trade because they're scared of them.
So, I say with all the kids on the side with Pokemon, all the people that want Pokemon back, with all the people on the Pokemon side, for all the arguments we had with Pokemon cards, I think we should bring Pokemon back. The kids who love them in this school. It would be disappointing to let them down though.
So I'm going to close with some facts. There are 409 students that go to Carey Downey Elementary School. We have 18 classrooms, and 6 classrooms are represented here in this bus tour. It is the responsibility of the adults in this building to not only educate all 409 students in reading, math, science, social studies, art, music, and physical education, and library-related content, but to allow you to do so in a safe, orderly environment where you feel comfortable. Your education is part and is the product of a well-rounded, polite, thoughtful, respectful, and creative school. You, our individuals, are paramount and are at the most importance to me and to all of us in this room. If there's anything that could or does potentially hinder or get in the way of that, it is my responsibility to correct such actions and or schedules to the best of my ability. Although fun, trading Pokemon cards is a great activity, much like watching a movie, playing air hockey, bowling, jumping on a trampoline, or even video games. It is not something that is essential to you getting a good quality education. It is not an essential tool like a pencil, paper, or access to the internet or your teachers. If I were to enact policy that prevented you from speaking with your teachers or not allowing you to use a pencil, I could definitely see where you three would have grounds for an argument. Unfortunately, when it comes to Pokemon, I don't see that you've convinced me. I hope that you haven't convinced the judges or come up with a sufficient argument that they contribute to our primary focus of school, which I will state again is to educate you in all areas in a supportive, safe, respectful, well-rounded environment. Taking away Pokemon over the last 2 weeks has not led to an increase in disruption. It has not hampered your ability to read or complete math problems. If anything, it has allowed you to focus more and keep your thoughts about trades or battles to times when they are more appropriate. Much like you don't have to think about what you're doing, going to eat for dinner when you're eating lunch, or the presents that you make on your birthday at Christmas. Not trading Pokemons during the day does not hamper your ability to learn. There is a time and a place for everything. School is important. Pokemon is a game. School is not a game that I am willing to sacrifice any outside disruption if it can be prevented. I am determined to stand by my convictions. I stand by my declaration to not have Pokemon. I stand firm to hopefully enable you to someday be able to make the same sort of difficult decisions that I've had to make. That's the end of my statement.
As you, the reporter, how did you feel about this? I think Pokemon.
Not all rats.
Mr. Tim had a strong argument, but I think the opposing team could have had some better arguments. I agree, and I